Hi everyone, it's Nick. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, in today's video, we're going to be talking about furniture and decor and whether you get what you pay for. I feel like in this world of dupe culture where everybody sort of thinks that you can get restoration hardware and find a dupe that are at IKEA prices, right? I feel like there's this conversation around the value of different decor items and furniture pieces and whether or not it's worth it. And I'm just going to spoil it for you. The answer is yes, you do get what you pay for. And it's going to be really determined on what you value. Everybody wants different things. What some people really value isn't what other people really value. And that's really the difference of whether or not it makes sense for you to move up the sort of price ladder. So in this video, I'm breaking down a few different furniture and decor sort of product categories and giving you sort of a budget-friendly option, a mid-tier option, and a high-end option, and sort of really trying to help you understand why it sometimes makes sense to spend a little bit more, because in the end, you have to value what goes into these products in order to justify sometimes the higher price point. In terms of high-end beautiful products that I think are very much worth it, there is no better company than today's sponsor, Dyson. Now, today I want to talk about a couple of products that I really love from Dyson, the first of which is the Light Cycle Morph floor lamp. So there's a couple of things I want to highlight with this lamp that I really love. The first one is that it changes the color temperature throughout the day, which you know I'm a big fan of because so often people have like daylight balanced light bulbs, especially in places like their bedroom. And what the Life Cycle Morph does is that it actually changes the color temperature of the bulb throughout the day, which I love. So yes, daylight bulbs can be great in the morning. It sort of helps you kind of wake up because it sort of mimics daylight. That's really great. But what it does is it changes throughout the day so that as you get into the evening and you kind of get closer to that sunset, you're going to get a softer, sort of warmer light that is going to be more in tune with what your body is going to need. And the other thing that this light does, which I think is great, which is something I talk about on this channel all the time, is it's the importance of task lighting. I love how convenient this light is because what it's done is it's got this sort of magnet that sticks when it's not in use. So it just kind of creates this really beautiful, soft glow. But when you want to use it, you can just pull out this light and you can sort of bend it and articulate it to exactly where you want it to go. I think that's great. It's really functional. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the Dyson Purifier Hot Plus Cool Formaldehyde. So there's a couple of things I really wanted to highlight with this fan. First of all, it does cool and hot. The other thing that it does is that it's a purifier at the same time. It senses and captures ultrafine particles that are in your home, but it can also capture and destroy formaldehyde, which is potentially harmful to humans and can be found in common household goods. So this purifier also couldn't be easier to use because what I've done is actually just set it on auto so that it's always purifying the air in my home all the time. And it's capturing any sort of unwanted particles or any chemicals that are in the air. It's capturing them and it's filtering this right out. Thank you, Dyson Canada, for sponsoring this video and for making amazing products. If you want to check them out, you can go to dysoncanada.ca or your local Dyson website. Now let's get back to all those budget, mid-tier, and high-end products that I'm talking about. Okay, so first let's talk rugs. So my budget pick for this one is going to be this rug from Wayfair. And by the way, I see you all in the comment section playing the drinking game of every time I say the word jute, take a drink. So all I have to say to you people is jute rug, jute rug, jute rug, jute rug, jute rug, drink up. This is a 5x8 rug and it is about $155. This is a really beautiful rug. I think it's super chic. I really love jute rugs. I do recommend them a lot on my channel. But here's the thing, they are still a budget pick because jute is going to be a really inexpensive material. So that's the thing with jute rugs. They are beautiful, they're gorgeous, they work in a coastal space, I think a boho space, even a Scandinavian space. I think they can work really, really well, but there are some compromises that you're going to be making with a jute rug. First of all is that jute rugs are not necessarily the most comfortable. So yes, they're generally quite a cheap material, which is why you see them a lot at IKEA, which is why you sort of see them a lot here on Wayfair, like this rug that we're looking at, but it is generally going to be a cheaper material. And because of that, it's not as luxurious as some of the other options we're talking about. So it is a little bit kind of not that comfortable underfoot. Like they are a little bit rougher. If you've ever had a jute rug, you know what I'm talking about, but they can be really great for sort of high traffic areas or medium traffic areas because they are quite durable. Another thing is, although it is a really beautiful, simple rug, I think it's worth pointing out that there's no pattern here, right? So if you're looking at more patterned rugs or you're looking at more intricate design, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. That's going to move you into a mid-tier. But I think this is a really chic, beautiful rug for like a really great price point. But again, not going to be the most comfortable rug in the world, not super sort of extravagant and crazy with lots of really cool design, but it's a really beautiful rug and it's a great price point. Okay, next up, let's talk about that vintage looking Persian rug. So this is now moving into the mid-tier, and the main reason you're moving into the mid-tier with this one is going to be the material. You're looking at a wool viscose blend. So viscose is sort of a man-made material, so it's going to be a little bit cheaper than the one rug we're going to talk about in a minute, but it is going to be kind of like a silk sort of like quality to it. So it's not a natural fiber. It is man-made, but it really kind of resembles silk in a lot of ways. This makes it a little bit less durable in some ways, so I wouldn't recommend this as much for a high traffic area, but this is going to be a much softer, more plush material, and that's what's going to get it into the sort of mid-tier price point. So if you are looking for a softer, more luxurious material, you're gonna have to pay that little bit of a premium and move into something like the mid-tier. But this is a really beautiful rug and a great option if you're looking for something, you know, sort of kind of in the middle that's still a really good price point, but still soft and luxurious at the same time. Okay, so let's move into the high-end rug selection, which I'm gonna go with this Benny rug for about $1,400 US. By the way, there are rugs that you can spend tens of thousands of dollars on a rug, so this is by no means probably into like the super premium or luxury category, but it's still a pretty pricey rug, and I think I really liked that it shows a little bit of the difference of what you get when you start moving into that higher tier price point. So again, this is a truly beautiful rug. We are looking at 100% wool, so again, we're not blending it with different fabrics, and we're using a much more expensive fabric than jute like we talked about in the budget option. So that's kind of the main reason why this rug is going to be a lot more expensive. But the other thing I want to talk about with Benny rugs is that they do offer a lot of customization. So you can get it in a ton of different sizes, different colors. You can get it with or without tassels. You can get it in a whole bunch of different patterns. There's so many different options. And the reason they're able to do that is because every rug is made to order. So unlike West Elm and of course Wayfair, they are able to hold a lot of inventory, and they have sort of a select rug at a very kind of specific pattern, specific color, or whatever. With the customization options at Benny, you are going to get a lot more options, but that is going to result in a much higher price point because everything is handmade in Morocco. They really spend a lot of time talking about the gorgeous wool that they're offering. And because it's made to order, you are getting exactly what you're looking for. But again, getting exactly what you're looking for is going to come at a cost. This is a much more expensive rug. This is what, almost 4 times as much as the rug that we saw at West Elm, but you are getting something truly beautiful that is one of a kind, that is handmade in Morocco with gorgeous fabrics. And I think that is what makes this a much more expensive option. The other thing I want to mention, of course, which you may or may not value, as I said, is that they do a lot of designer collaborations. So they've done a collaboration with Colin King, and then they've also done Athena Calderon, who is an amazing designer. So if you really enjoy the aesthetic of a particular designer, then that is a really great option. By the way, Benny Rugs, call me, I'm available. So they've collaborated on something where they've worked directly with a designer that has been able to create something, you know, uniquely that kind of fits their style. So if that really is important to you, that might be another reason why you're sort of moving into that category. The main thing I want to get across with these rugs is just the education piece of like why you're moving into different tiers. And I think that's what you're really paying for when you're starting to move into this high-end category. A lot more designer collaborations, a lot more customization, a lot more quality and craftsmanship put into the rug itself. And also, of course, the quality of the materials and the construction that is being done as well. Okay, next category, let's talk couches. Okay, so the first one, I'm going to talk about Wayfair again. I'm going to give another budget pick from Wayfair, and that is this leather couch. I'm going to be comparing 3 different leather couches in terms of why they're the price that they're priced, so that you can sort of understand the value as you sort of move up the price ladder, if you will. So this leather couch, let's talk about it. So first of all, you've got solid wood construction, which I love to see. If you've seen my couch video, you know that that is a really good indication that you're dealing with a solid foundation when looking at your couch. But let's talk about the leather that's used. I think this is a really beautiful couch. I think it is really gorgeous. It is really streamlined. I really like it, and it's a really awesome price point. But what makes this a budget pick is going to be the quality of that leather. This is genuine leather, and basically what genuine leather means, and I'm no leather expert, but basically what it means is they are saying to you, yes, this is leather. That's all they're saying. They're giving you no indication of where that leather comes from, where it's being sourced from the particular hide of the cow or whatever, but we're definitely going to see some compromise made in terms of the leather that you're getting here. Again, you kind of get what you pay for. That's kind of the theme of this video. So this is still a really beautiful couch. I think it is still really chic. I think it is gorgeous, but it's definitely going to fit somebody who is prioritizing the cost of a leather couch over the quality of the leather and probably the longevity of the product, to be honest. I don't know if this leather couch is going to wear in as well as some of the couches that we're going to be talking about in a second. You're going to see a lot of wear probably a lot quicker than if they had used a higher quality leather. So still a really beautiful couch. I would say it's really gorgeous. It's a great price for a genuine leather couch. It's just not going to be as premium as if you moved up to the mid-tier option, for example. So let's talk about that mid-tier option. For this, we're going to be talking about the Article Sven couch. This one is about $2,100 US, but let's look at why it would be a little bit more expensive than the couch that we just talked about from Wayfair. Main thing we're gonna be talking about, although yes, we are still looking at the solid wood construction, so that is great. That is kind of generally probably the same as what you're gonna get from the Wayfair one, but it's gonna be the quality of that leather, right? We're dealing with top Allanide leather here versus going with something that is a genuine leather. What that means is this is a much higher quality, sort of higher end leather product that is going to wear in a lot better over time. What I really love about leather couches is that over time, they sort of develop a little bit of a gorgeous sort of patina. So we've all kind of maybe seen those leather jackets that people have that you can hold on to for years and years. And if it's a really good quality leather, it is going to just almost look better in time, right? It sort of starts to look a lot more beautiful because it develops a little bit more character. It just feels a little bit nicer than maybe it even did when you first bought it. That is something that you're more likely to get from this mid-tier leather couch as opposed to going with something like the budget option I gave. So now comparing this to the high-end option I'm going to talk about in a second, the thing to also realize with Article is that they don't have any retail stores. So what that means is that you don't get the beautiful shopping experience that you might expect, especially when we're going to talk about the high-end option in a second here. And also in addition to that, you're not going to be able to try out the couch at the same time. So rather than sit on it, lie down on it, put your feet, I don't know what you do in a retail store, like, you know, you make yourself at home there, I don't know. But the point is you get to try out typically in a retail store all these different sort of materials, and you can try out the couch, you can sit on it, you can understand kind of where your knee placement's going to be, whatever. You're able to get exactly what you want when you go into a store and you're able to try it out yourself. With Article, you don't get to do that. When there's no retail stores, not only do you lose the beautiful experience, but you lose the ability to see and try the product for yourself. So again, I love this Sven couch. I think it's really beautiful, but again, you kind of get what you pay for, and you are spending $600 more than you're going to spend at Wayfair for that other couch, but you are going to definitely see that in terms of the leather quality. And finally, let's talk about the Maxwell sofa from RH. Let's talk about what you're getting when you move into the high-end sort of tier category, which is RH. Now, Restoration Hardware offers a whole ton of options in terms of how you want to configure and all the different sort of leathers, and you can get different leathers and different fabrics and whatever, which brings me to rule number one, which is the more customization that a retailer offers you, oftentimes the more expensive it's going to be. So the Wayfair couch, I think, comes in 3 colors. The Sven comes in a couple. This comes in all the different fabrics that RH offers. So you can get it in whatever exact leather color you are looking for. That is number one reason why RH is going to be a lot more expensive. But I think a similar configuration goes for about $5,000 compared to Article. So again, we're now looking at double, more than double of what we were getting in the mid-tier option. And you're also getting that beautiful sort of retail experience when you go into an RH, right? Like you can sit down with an interior designer, they'll pull up CAD, they'll sit and show the configuration of whatever sort of version of the Maxwell couch you're looking for, and they can sort of really kind of help you piece together that amazing living room, something that you're not really going to get if you go with a Wayfair or maybe even an Article. You're probably not going to get that same level of one-on-one service that you're going to get at like an RH. Some people really like their handheld and really like to sort of walk in and kind of enjoy that customer experience that you get by going into an RH, which sort of, by the way, brings me to the last reason this couch is going to be the most expensive, which is going to be the brand. RH just has a brand, it has a reputation. People love to say this couch is from Restoration Hardware, this table's from RH, or my whole living room's RH, right? People love that. There is a certain degree of sort of prestige that comes with the RH brand, which may or may not matter to you, but that's just the reality. So again, all 3 products, really beautiful, super chic, very different products with different levels of quality and service and experience that you're gonna get from them. Okay, let's talk about dining room tables. Let's talk about 3 different chic options that are all beautiful in their own way, but let's discuss sort of what you get when you start moving into those higher tiers, right? So my budget option is going to be the IKEA table here, which is about $630. First of all, let's talk about IKEA, right? Because IKEA was sort of the impetus for me even doing this video at all, because I just think they're so good at the dupes. But let's be real, like a lot of IKEA stuff is going to be a lot cheaper quality than what you're going to get if you're moving into some of the higher end brands. And I think it's just really important that we go in with our eyes wide open, knowing that. So let's talk about the construction of this table, because that's really where IKEA is going to be saving their money. This IKEA table is made of particle board with a really, really small thin veneer of oak. So what does that mean? Well, particle board is basically sort of leftover wood chips basically that is then combined with a resin to form these sort of boards. But then it's got this tiny, tiny thin layer of wood veneer over top, which is actually real wood. It's just a really, really tiny thin layer, and it's a great way for manufacturers to save money. The problems with that by moving into sort of this budget tier is the longevity of the product. The reality is that dining tables are gonna get dinged, and over time, if you break through that wood veneer, you're gonna maybe be able to see the particle board underneath. That is one compromise that you are making when you go with a budget option. customization, but it's a super chic table. We know IKEA, right? They basically outsource the assembly of their products to you. That's the thing. They flat pack everything. They're a massive company that manufactures this in huge quantities, and then they flat pack it, ship it to the warehouses so that you can assemble it. Yes, it looks great. Yes, it looks beautiful, but by putting it together, they are able to save on that cost, and part of that cost is then being passed on to you in the form of a cheaper price point. Now let's talk about the mid-tier. So this is a crate and barrel table, but this is a solid oak table. So by moving from $630 up to like $2,100, which I get is like 3.5 times the price, but you're now moving into a solid oak table. So this is going to be much higher end in terms of the construction. You're gonna get real wood through and through. There's no particle board with a wood veneer. You're dealing with real wood. And that is going to cost a lot more money because the input costs of the materials are gonna be much higher. And I think it's going to be a table that's going to last you for a heck of a lot longer than the IKEA table, although that is beautiful too. Now, this is still a manufactured product. So now when we're talking about the mid-tier, let's also start talking about that higher end version, right? There's no customization options here. You're basically dealing with a manufactured product that is being created overseas, and Crate & Barrel is pumping out these tables, probably not as many as IKEA is, but they're pumping out a lot of these tables as well. So there's no customization, no personalization. It is going to be a very simple table that a lot of people have in the world. That may not matter to you. You may just think that this is a beautiful solid wood table that is really gorgeous and you're gonna be happy with for years to come, versus someone that's looking for something a little bit more specific. That type of stuff is where you're gonna start getting into that higher end tier. But now let's talk about the high end. Let's talk about what a $6,000 table would look like. I mean, obviously it depends on what sort of options you choose, which brings me to my first point. When you are moving into this high-end dining room tier, you are going to get a lot more personalization and customization. This table is going to be built for you. Now, I selected Union Wood Co. because they're a local Vancouver company. I know them. I actually had one of their tables back in the juice company that I started many, many years ago. And it's a really, really beautiful table. And I can tell you, I can attest, they hand make everything in this table, right? So you can choose the color of the powder coated legs all the way to the different types of wood. They offer a bunch of different species. You can stain it in a bunch of different colors. You can really work with them directly to create something super beautiful and customized and unique to you. This is going to be something that is made by local businesses where you can get to know the people because you're paying sort of the skilled artisans that are creating this product. You can sort of really get to know them and you can sort of suss out that, yeah, this is a business with integrity. This is a business where you know the people are making a great wage. You know that they're choosing really great materials. You can really attest to the quality and the craftsmanship that has gone into that. Less so with the mid-tier and sort of the budget options that we talked about. That's sort of the type of stuff that you're getting into when you're starting to look at sort of those higher end options. Sometimes it makes sense to buy the budget, sometimes the mid-tier, sometimes the high end. It really just sort of depends on you and what you value. Sometimes you really value things that are in that high end category and you're willing to pay that premium for it. And sometimes you just don't value it and you're willing to go with something that's more of a budget or a mid-tier option. All are okay. I don't judge any of those choices. I just really wanted you guys to understand what is going into each of the products that you're buying so that you can make sure that you buy the right products that you value and you're putting the right products in your home. Thank you all. I will see you all in the next video. Thanks. Bye.